Hello everyone, Chris Assis here, and today we will be looking more into the actual pivot. So we went from our walks for our Yiro, we went and looked into the preparation phase for the pivot. So now we're going to be looking into the pivot, and we're going to be going in the upper body in the upper body to find some answers. So get into something comfortable and feel free to do the exercise, especially the first one that we're going to be standing, but feel free to do it against the wall if you don't want to be lying down, or you might even be able to do it on your bed depending on if it's a little bit not too soft. You need a little bit of resistance. So if you don't like lying down, you can always do that against the wall. As long as it's a little bit of a hard surface, you're going to be okay. So here we go. So start lying flat on your stomach and completely relax. And when we say relax, we don't mean fall asleep, but try to create a direct connection between the upper and the lower body without the force of muscle. And using the two small fingers, you gently press into the floor and try to feel the connection between those two fingers and your first and second ribs, and lift your head. As you can see, it's not a huge movement, and it's not lifting from the upper body, and I'm not tensing up my arms. And all this might seem very strange, but you're gonna feel very much relaxed afterwards. So then you try this a couple of times, then you move on to the two fingers from the outside to the inside, from the baby finger to the towards the center, anyways. And you're moving first and second rib, third and fourth rib. You're pressing and you're coming from the outside towards the center, towards the thumb. Try this a couple of times, and as said before, avoid pressing and stopping that energy at the hand or at the wrists or at the elbows. Instead, let that pressure go all the way through your body, all the way through your arms into the ribs. And then we have the two outer fingers. So baby to middle finger, we press. We press and we feel the pressure as a roll coming from the outside of our hand towards the center of our hand. And now you see that the lift is a little bit bigger, and you'll start to feel that pass through one side to the other as you turn your head. And some interesting things will start to happen. You'll see the flow of the movement in my shoulders, and I hope you'll feel it as well. Then you go to all four fingers, and now we've reached basically ribs 7, 8, 9, 10 as we reach the index finger. So you can get pretty high up, but that's not the important part. The important part is to find how you can roll from the small finger, the outer edge of your hand, all the way into the index finger, and connect that roll to your ribs up to the 10th, down to the 10th rib. And then thumb is rib 11. So you roll your way in, and you at the same time you roll your way up. And here you can adjust your hands to feel more comfortable, and if you want to get higher, that's totally up to you. But you can see how my hands are taking like a similar shape to the feet. You're rolling your way inward towards the thumbs. And again here, depending how your head turns, you can feel that shift, that turn of the head directs also a little bit the energy. Now, if we do one hand at a time, you'll start to notice why we're doing all this. But it's very important, and here you can easily fall into the trap of pressing into the floor and stopping the energy at the elbow or at the shoulder. But we want to go all the way into the ribs. Here we are at rib 3 and 4. So sequentially you go from 1 and 2, baby, 3 and 4, the next finger, 5 and 6, the middle finger, 7 and 8, and 9 and 10, the index finger, and 11 is the thumb. And here you can see this nice big twist and elongation of the arm and the spine. You can even see my hips giving in to this nice twist. And you do this on, of course, the other side as well. And you can start probably getting the idea of where all this is going. Yes, it's pivots without tension and good following without tension. So the floor is your partner for this one, but you really need to listen to all these fine messages that your body is sending, because your body here will tell you if it's feeling tension. If you can't breathe, if your shoulder is hurting, that is a good sign that you're doing it wrong. It's not that your shoulder is weak, it's that you are delivering this this pressure in the wrong way and you're not letting it reach your ribs. So take your time trying to find that connection between the hands and the ribs and the spine and possibly the hips. And so we're adding the lower body. We're following the same sequence here, one side at a time. Only when we reach the thumb, we're going to allow for that same leg to move. And you'll see you don't really have to do anything special. You just let your hips follow the twist of the upper body. And if that doesn't remind you of tango, I don't know what does. And as you see, maybe you notice, maybe not, but one side of my body was a little bit more tensed than the other one, or better said, less able to reach the same twist as the other one. So my right side for you, as you're seeing this, is a little bit more open and able to reach a deeper twist, and as the leg will come up, you'll be able to see it here. And now as we gently go and switch over to the other side, let's see, we're coming up. Maybe we can together detect where the problem is. I think it might be somewhere in the shoulder or the orientation of the arm and the spine. So as the leg comes in, there's a little bit of stickiness there and we can't really reach those same levels, but work in progress. So you might get stuck, you might feel the same difference in your body. It's absolutely normal. Not because it's happening to me, because it happens to everyone. One side of our body is more flexible or more strong or works more efficiently than the other. So try to feel the differences and see if you can transfer them over. So the same exercise, standing, will create one big problem for us. The problem of yielding towards the floor. And yielding doesn't mean just dropping all our weight. It means aligning the bones so we can comfortably be in that spot without the use of any muscle. So we're aiming for that relationship between the upper and the lower body, a relationship of alignment and not a forced relationship. So, and you do exactly the same thing that we did on the floor, and the feet do not matter but at all. You can just let them be. But again, you're going from the pinky, the small finger, all the way to the thumb. And then back to center. You're standing on one foot, and yes, you're doing the same thing. So you're rolling from the outer part of your hand to your thumb, and you can see it here. So small finger 1 and 2 rib 1 and 2. The next finger, rib 3 and 4. The middle finger, rib 5 and 6. The index finger, 7, 8, 9, 10. The thumb, 11. So when you reach the thumb, you're right at the bottom of your rib cage, and you are really, really reaching away from the wall. Start on 2 feet, turn to face your partner, and then press with one hand, make that roll as we did before, to twist a little bit more and shift your weight on one foot. Then step. And here you find your weight in the middle. You use the hands to shift your weight all the way over and pivot. Find your weight in the middle and use that rolling of the hand, that thumb. You see how it gives that last little bit of power to finish that roll, because after the middle of the step, you can see it here, after we pass the middle, the twist is already starting. And this is something for you leaders to consider here, and to practice and to feel it in your body so you can efficiently lead it. So after your partner hits the middle of the step, you can start implying that there is a pivot coming here. And as you can see, she can easily do it, and it's actually quite something that naturally happens because the body is already turning towards that front leg. And now that we will be freeing the ribs with this exercise, it will feel actually like a very good timing to manage that, to add that twist. But you have to find halfway, and you have to work on releasing the rib cage, opening up the rib cage, and this is a very good way to do that, and to connect all the dots from hands to rib cage to feet and to timing. So take a few moments, and maybe you need to roll back and forth like I'm doing here. So you're passing center, maybe coming back. So you're rolling from the outer part of your hand to the inner part and back to the outer part. Try that, and always try to find that you go down from top rib down towards the core, down towards the hips, as you roll from the outer part of your hand to the inner part, and that thumb, see how it gives it that little bit away. So it's not only the the roll that we need to work with, the finding the connection with the ribs, but it's also the timing. And here we have a lot of tools to manage that timing. So that's bonus for our work today. And after a couple of repetitions, maybe it is time to reverse things and go to back ochos. So I hope that you are able to see what is happening here. As it wasn't the easiest thing to show with the hands and the body with the position of the hands, but similar to the forward ochos. Let's see here. That last little bit is given by the thumb. Let's see. We reach the end of our step and we create that roll to turn. That last little bit of pressure from the thumb will send us also into the step right here. You start the roll and you push away. There we go. That, I hope you saw that. So if you focus on that right hand, I think it is in a better position, but you can still see a little part of it on the left. Here we go. You roll in, you press away. See, exactly that. So it is that final moment at the very end of the pivot that links into that back step. So you have a smooth, continuous movement between the pivot and the step itself, and you don't really have to stop and reposition or restart with the step after you pivot. But the important thing here is to be able to create a link, a relationship between the upper body and the lower body that is not dissected into two blocks, upper and lower, but it follows a continuous path from head to toe, or from fingertips to toes. It. As you saw today, it was all about hands and how we go from the from the outer part of the hand inward and connect the outer part with rib 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's the final one. So try to find this action, this rolling, It's similar to what happens on our feet, from your baby toe all the way to the big toe and in reverse when you walk backwards. So try to find this rolling. It's not that you are leading or following with your hands, but you are activating the hands to reach and grab that message from your partner. So it is leading and following through the arms, through the hands, and if you think about it logically, this is one point of contact, the other one is on your back, and of course, what's coming from the front. But the turn, there is some tension here that's going to happen because the leader is turning this way. So this and how able you are to respond to this action, that is very important. Of course, you don't dance doing like crazy stuff with your hands or massaging your partner's hand or something like that. These exercises are just activation exercises, just to take your mind to the hands, to become aware of all the nerves, all the muscles, or the little bones, how they sit there, how they move every time you change your hand orientation, and generally how your hand sits in your partner's hand, and how that comes together when there is a pivot. So work on these exercises with that in mind, and not with it's not one of those things where you take this and you put it in a dance and then you start doing funky stuff that are not really tango. But it is one of those things that will make you very aware of how your hands connect to your rib cage. And that is fascinating, how much freedom you can get just from that. So give it a go. Send me your comments, questions, concerns through email, and I'll get back to you ASAP. See you soon.